Welcome back, folks, to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast. On today's show, we have Jean-Côme Mazière. He is with a company called Canvas. Oh, actually, no, hang on a second here. The company is called Guardtex, and he develops a technology called Kanvaslight. John, we're going to call him John, is a mechanical industrial engineer with a diverse background in various fields and locations. Throughout his career, he has enjoyed study and work in Europe, North America, and South America. In 2020, he joined Guardtex, and they developed Kanvaslight technology, which is what we're going to talk about today. Which I don't know if it's good or not, but it looks super cool when I checked it out on the internet. And so I want to talk a little bit more about it. He's now the chief operating officer of this U.S. entity. He is responsible for directing both the technical and commercial developments and is committed to driving innovation and growth for the company. So COO at Guardtex and chief engineer at Kanvaslight. But I'm talking about grip lock systems, Greg Eric, before we go to this Guardtex stuff. I'm going to griplock, GRIPLOCKSYSTEMS.com, Greg Eric.
That's right. And hey, labor prices are continuously increasing. I think we know that when we're selling lighting projects. So we got to always find a way to cut the labor cost whenever we can or make it more efficient. And the biggest no-brainer, in my opinion, is to use the grip lock system when suspending light fixtures. It provides everything you need to suspend your light fixture, any application you've got. They've got the system
easy.
for. And their key component is that unique self-locking, completely adjustable, toolless lock that you can slide up and down or up as often as you like, and you can move it anytime you want. So free yourself from the chains.
Ooh.
Literally, get a grip.
Free yourself from the chains. Get a grip with griplocksystems.com, baby. And of course, hey, Greg, the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors, of which this is the official podcast, has having a membership drive, man. And we already put 2 in the books. I saw them come in. Now, I don't know if they've been approved by the board or not, but man, first 2 weeks, 2 new members have nailed. We're hot. We're on fire, buddy. So go to NILD.org. John, what do you got, buddy? What are you saying down with this Kanvaslight stuff? What are you talking about? Light and fabric? Tell me more, brother.
Well, so I'm going to start with just how we got the idea initially. So Guardtex, the company is a French company that was created about 50 years ago, and we work in the marine industry. And everybody that we knew had the problem that, by night when you go boating, you have no light in your top, the sunshade that you use. So we thought about what would be the best idea to actually bring light. And as we were using canvas, we say, why not create a canvas that light up? So the idea kind of grew, and we built the first lighting fabric using fiber optics weaved. And then we basically created this lighting fabric that could be used as a full lighting fixture into bimini tops. But now today we use this fabric for so many other applications. The concept being that we don't transport electricity, but we transport light through fiber optics that are treated.
Can you explain a little on the fiber? I know a little about fiber optics, but dive into what fiber optic lighting is, if you could.
Sure. So let's take an example. Normally I take the analogy of a pipe of water. So imagine you're in your garden and you take a pipe of water, you go from point A to point B with the water. And if you make a lot of small holes along the way, you're going to lose water, like in the transportation. The fiber optics is the same principle where basically we throw light at the beginning of the fiber and you receive a signal at the end of the fiber, which is light. What we did with Kanvaslight, we're using the same concept, weaving the fabric with fiber optics and then making small holes along the fiber optics to create leaks. So we basically leak the light along the way. So the concept is, if you compare that to a LED strip, all the light spots that you see, they're actually LEDs that transport, that create light. With Kanvaslight, what we do is basically that we throw the beginning of the fiber optics and then we lose it along the way, and there is no electricity transported. So if I were just using that, not everybody has a camera, but if I plug this into an electronic, you can see that the fabric becomes a light, but the electronic is not where the fabric is. If I unplug it, it's still a fabric that can be used as a fabric.
So you do need electricity to it, and I'm looking on your website. I see it on the back of a boat, canopy or bimini top, whatever you want to call it. and the light is centered in there. So where are you hiding the cords going up to the light?
So that's up to the OEM. So in different industries, we work with the OEMs. In the case of the video, we basically have the electronic deported outside of the canvas, or it can be, like directly in the boat. And we use wires that goes from the electronic in the boat through the poles to connect to the fabric. So the fabric lights up, but the electricity is in the boat, not in the canopy.
Mm.
So
So
does the
think
light
about
only
it
work
for
when the boat is on? Then I assume.
yes, we use very low voltage and low power electronics. And the idea is that we only use one LED that's going to create light for an entire fabric. So, as you see on my camera, but as we do, all the fiber optics that we weave into a fabric, they're joined into one single connection. So, this connection goes to the electronic. So, you don't have one electronic per fiber optic, but all the fiber optics go into one single electronic.
Hmm.
And how long can you make a run of this fabric or this light? What length?
So the length of the fabric can be up to 3 meters. In a feet, it would be about 10 and a half. And that's how long the fiber optics can be. But you can play with the width because the width doesn't have any limitation. You just have to put one injection like this every 4 inches. So you can imagine 3 meters long, 10 feet long fabric, but you can make it as wide as you want as long as you put one of these connector every 4 inches.
So all the light comes from that end that you're holding up there. I know people listening might not see it, but encourage you to go look online here. And then that can run 10 and a half feet. Does the light dissipate over the length at towards the end? Does it get dimmer?
Exactly. So what we do is the process of our technology that we weave the fabric with the fiber optics, and then depending on the length of the fabric, we're going to apply a treatment to the fiber, so the light that is created is homogeneous. The idea being that the longer it is, we're going to treat it so it dims proportionally, and the smaller it is, the shorter it is, the brighter it's going to get.
And I assume you can do any color you want with it, just like it's an LED at the end, right?
Exactly. So there's two ways to play with the color. Either you play with the electronic that's going to create different colors. So as you saw on my screen, I use a RGBW electronic. Therefore, I can create any color that I want. But I can also play with the color of the fabric because we use polyester to weave with the fiber optics. So we can create black fabrics just like this one. And it's the same principle. You can plug it into the electronic.
Plug in
Will
the
carry
black
the same
fabric.
light.
Plug it in. I'm just for those listening. It's like a black fabric, and okay.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
And we can go even further. So imagine this is a basic fabrics that we use for upholstery, flooring, bimini tops.
Yeah.
But we even go further by actually using a jacquard weaving machine to weave directly logos, to weave designs.
Sure.
So design takes light. So
yeah, there's
in the example I'm showing the
endless
camera.
opportunities for this.
Exactly.
So he's got Kanvaslight written on a piece of fabric. Plug it in and let's see the Kanvaslight right up. Go for it there. Yeah, that's neat.
So here you can
it doesn't translate that well over the video, but yeah, you could totally see how that would be.
you can imagine, yeah.
That would be spectacular. Yeah, that's interesting. And you got a factory for this stuff in America?
So we manufacture all the fabrics in France today. That might change in the future. And we manufacture electronics either in Europe or in North America with North American partners. And mostly we distribute the fabric in US. So we have an entity which gets the fabric from France and distribute them in US.
Who?
So
Go. Yeah, you go, Greg. You finish up.
we might be on the same thing here, but
Yeah.
Who are you selling to? Is it the
Yeah,
OEM?
that's what I was gonna ask.
See, we think alike.
So
Is it the end
basically
users?
we started with OEM in the marine industry because we actually have the marine business as our core business for Guardtex. And so this was the stepping stone for us coming from this market. But today we actually work with Kanvaslight in different markets, including RVs, home decor, furnitures, and any other market that basically the technology can apply to. So we have, as you saw in our website, like some initial markets, but today we have inquiries from many others. The
Sure.
last one being movies and theme parks.
Hmm.
I think it's almost a mistake to start in marine because sometimes when people start in marine, Greg, they never get out of marine. It's like there's
Sure.
something about the marine business that there's marine lighting and then there's everything else. And like there's some distributors that do marine stuff, and there's people that like if someone came to me and said, "Where should I start my lighting business?" I would say, "Don't start in marine." Because you always get stuck there. But you know what? I haven't seen anything this innovative, man. I don't know, Greg. That's pretty wild stuff. That bright fabric there. I mean,
Well, yeah, and I guess I'm just wondering. So it's fabric. How durable though? Like if we're talking a bimini top again, and the purpose is to stay out of the rain or stay out of the sun. So let's say it's raining. You talked about punching holes in this fabric. I know they're not literal holes that come let the rain go through, but how does it compare to the actual fabric of the material, what it's weaving into?
So if I talk about durability of the lighting fabric by itself, we use polyester and fiber optics, PMMA fiber optics, that are very resistant over the time. The system was made marine grade, so it's UV resistant, waterproof. We don't use Kanvaslight as a replacement fabric. So, for instance, if we use a bimini top, the fabric that you're going to use to protect from the sun and the rain is going to be a fabric made for that. But Kanvaslight can be used in addition to the other fabric, so like a sandwich, to create another function in the fabric. But it's not replacing the structural fabric, if it makes
mm,
sense.
Okay.
does.
Now, what happens when that burns out? Like you have to rip the fabric off and re-sew it in, or does it connect? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out. How it connects.
So the since we started, it was in 2017, the first products that we made for the marine industry. They're still in the market. It's very durable. The What we do, imagine that the electronic burns for any reason, then you don't have to change the actual fabric because the fabric is just a tool to carry the light. So what you would do, you just go to the place where you have the electronics, in the boat, in the electronic box, wherever. You unplug it, get a new one, and plug it back to the fabric, and then the system goes again.
Hmm.
So you guys sell the replacement light as well
Exactly.
for each one. Oh,
And all our fabrics are compatible with all our electronics. The idea is that no matter if it's today or in 2 years or 3 years, you will be able to replace the electronics by something that is compatible.
Hmm.
so I know I'm asking maybe the same kind of thing, but I'm back to this bimini top. Underneath it is a light. What does it look like on top? Like what is the top? The back side of that, or is it
So,
top the
no,
canopy itself?
the back side would be like the other fabric, the structural fabric that is used. So sometimes it's umbrella,
Got it.
sometimes in many other fabric like this. This is like you couldn't tell the difference between a fabric with canvas light or without canvas light from the top.
Do you go to a
Got it.
marina and say, "Pop one of these suckers on my boat"? Like, where do you get it from? Because I know Greg's thinking about his boat. He's talking about this bimini top a lot. He wants some fabric
Yeah.
light on his boat. No, but you just roll into a marina that's a Guardtex distributor, or how does it work?
So we in the marine industry in US, we work with OEMs primarily. So instead of going to the retail side where we're going to be able to put that in every boat, we work with the OEMs to integrate that into bimini tops or upholstery when the boat is built. Now we just arrived in US in 2020, so I'm not saying in the future we won't be distributing retail options, but it still needs to be integrated by someone. So, most of the marine industry, like if you want to replace your canopy, you go to a canopy or a canvas maker. So
Mm.
that means that we work with canvas makers to integrate the product, but if final consumers cannot purchase canvas light and put it themselves because it's not finished yet.
Mm. Hmm.
Does the shape have to be a straight shape in a way? Like, all can you do an L bracket, or would you need two different engines in for it? Can it bend? I guess.
Exactly. So you can roll it, you can do a lot of things with it, but it's still fiber optics, which mean it needs to be straight in a way. So if you wanted a L, you would need either two fabrics differently, and like fiber optics in one direction and fiber optics in the other direction. Uh, that would be the solution.
Hmm.
And how does it actually install? Do you need a specialist, install specialist to get it in, or can anybody do that? If they were going to buy it from, I
So
know you go to OEM, but if they weren't,
so what we would do with someone that wanted to put Kanvaslight into their boat, they would need to work with a canvas maker, let's say. So if you want your beamy top to be lighting up, you go to see your canvas maker, you talk about Kanvaslight, and we provide them the material and videos to explain how to do themselves the integration. And on the electronic side, we try to make it super easy. So you could do it, or an electrician could do just the connection, but it would be pretty simple.
sure.
Hmm.
You guys also have something called a lamp light. How is that different? I'm looking at that as well.
So Lamlight is a new technology that we just released in 2022, and we went in Los Angeles to present that into the KMX, the Composite and Advanced Materials exhibition. So we won the innovation for that technology, and the difference is we took Kanvaslight on the position it is today, and we laminated Kanvaslight into composite. So what we did was seeing this material not anymore as a fabric, but something that could be structural. So let's take an example of a swimming pool, which is sometimes made out of fiberglass.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that the fiberglass is actually made out of the fiber optic fabric. So the bottom of the pool is laminated into a composite, and then we can plug the electronic and it lights up the entire pool. So that is what Lamlight is trying to do. And today we work with Lamlight with Boat Builder again and other applications that I'm
So
not
what
supposed
happens?
to
What
talk.
happens when it burns out? Like what happens when it burns out?
The electronic.
Yeah, no, or whatever. The fiber optics in the bottom of your fiberglass pool.
So if you burn your pool, then you will need to replace your pool. But if
No,
the
hang
only
on.
the
You
electronic
mean it doesn't burn out? Only the electronics burn out.
exactly the electronics,
I
then you
don't
just
know.
go to
You're
the
out of here. I don't know if I believe that. How does it not burn out?
So-
Everything fails. Everything burns out. Come on.
so
I think
the electronic can burn out. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, but the fiber optics can't burn out.
exactly. Because there is no heat signature, there is nothing that involves heat, electricity, or something that would actually make the system fail.
Can you prove that?
Normally, what I do when I go to shows, I take Kanvaslight and I put it right away into an aquarium with water. I ask someone to pour his coffee on top of it, and I just show like what you can do with the fabric, because really there is nothing that is damageful for the fabric except, and this is something, if you come with a knife and you try to like slice the fabric, then you will create lighter spot, but you wouldn't damage the fabric either way.
If you cut it in half, would it burn out? Would the
If
other
you cut
half
it in
burn?
half,
Yeah, like one half would still work and the other half wouldn't work.
exactly. You basically cut the pipe, so the light would stop at the end of the pipe you just cut.
Huh.
And the electronic
I don't know
itself
about this,
is,
man. This is getting a little bit wild, Greg. Like, think about that.
Yeah. No, I hear what he said because
What about lumen maintenance? How does it? How much does it deteriorate over time?
So as I say, it's the fiber optics and the polyester is UV resistant. So we've been doing tests over time, and it doesn't go bad really into even in the sun or exposed. The only risks that we ask our clients to be careful with is that you don't want to be putting Kanvaslight in a place where it's going to be with a lot of abrasion, because abrasion is what with any fabrics is a problem. So avoid abrasion, and the fabric can last for years and years.
Greg,
because it's an actual it's an actual fiber. That's what I don't think you're
yeah,
getting.
but
Like,
how are the
light,
lumens created?
but
How
it's
are where does the
fiber.
light come from?
The LED on the end. Hold up that thing again there, Sean.
So he
thing.
shoots the LED like through the pipes of fiber optics, and they glow. They don't get dirty. It doesn't wear down. Like, okay, for example, you take a UV light, which is a UV fluorescent light. It goes inside of a glass tube, okay? And that glass tube gets dirty. And so not only do you have to change your UV light, but you got to change out that glass tube. There's nothing here that would burn out with this or get dirty or like, come on, man.
So if the fabric gets dirty, we have products that we recommend to wash it. That's a way to do that. And then also it's about how you integrate it. So you want to integrate it into some place it's not going to be the dirtiest place ever. It's also about how you design the lighting
Come on, the
solution with
bottom
the
of a
fabric.
pool. The bottom of a pool is a dirty spot, brother. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, but then you just come, and because it's laminated, it's a composite, it's not anymore a fabric. And we use like whatever resin that you want to use. You can use a thicker resin, a gel coat that's going to be protected the fibers. Then you can come with whatever you use to scrub the bottom of your pool. You scrub it, but the fiber optics won't be touched because it's protected by the laminate.
Okay.
It's like a lens over the top of it. Nice.
So you have to change the electronics. Let's get into that. How long does that piece of electronics with the LED diodes in it last for?
So this, we have a warranty of 2 years on that, but honestly, it can last way longer because, as I said, this can be deported. So imagine that you want to plug it to the fabric and you want to make it like somehow close to the fabric. It might get rained on. This is waterproof, but let's say it's on the rain every day, every day. If it runs out, it could be, I don't know, 2-3 years. And imagine that now you actually want to design something that's going to last way longer. What you would use is something that we call an optical wire, and it allows you to basically put the electronic, let's say, in your house, protected when there is no rain. You plug these optical wires, like you can see here, to carry the light from the light injector to your pool or whatever. And then the electronic can last not forever because LEDs they have limits, but it can last for a very longer time because there is no interaction with any water or any harsh environment.
I like the way the light is carried through the pipe. I like that. Like you're piping light in.
Exactly. So,
You're
so if you look like this, see,
yeah.
I just like carry the light with this, but
he's pointing
there is
for those listening, he's pointing this like snake thing, black snake of light at the screen and changing colors. But I mean, I see endless applications for this stuff, Greg. I'm a little skeptical still, but man, even if it does last 5 to 10 years, I mean, if the fiber optics lasts, for whatever, it's definitely vehicle, car bodies, boat, the sides of boats, building it. If I want to sit on a couch that's glowing, a nice couch, a glowing couch.
Can you measure the output out of it? Can you measure the lumens or how much light you're actually getting?
Yes. So, well, when we do the electronics, the LED that creates a certain amount of lumens, it is hard to calculate exactly the lumens that we get of the fabric because the treatment that we use is not directional. So it's very hard to catch the exact lumens. But we know what is created at the electronic, and that's what we say is going to the fabric.
And why couldn't you only go 4.5 inches wide on it with the one LED? Couldn't you go more powerful LED and go wider?
Yes, so that's we standardize the connector to have something that would be capable of like lighting up either 4 inches or 8 inches, depending on how you spread the fiber optics. But if we wanted one day to make a much bigger fabric with a much bigger electronic, then we could do that also.
This reminds me of the first time I saw a piece of tape light, maybe 15 years ago or something like that. Remember LED tape light? I remember the first time I saw that, and I said, "Oh, that's going to be used in a lot of weird stuff." You know what I mean? Like you saw it the first time you saw it, and you couldn't even be like, "Oh man!" Like the guy, I can't even remember what the guy was telling me about it for. He's like, "Yeah, you can put it into." I think he was telling me you could put it into 2x4 troffers to replace fluorescent lamps, and I was like, "Nobody's going to do that." But someone's going to put it in a cove or under a bar as indirect lighting to replace festoons or whatever. Yeah, dude, this is a cool little thing you got, man. I have to hand it to you, Jean-Côme. That's a pretty.
Well, thank you.
I'm trying to pronounce his name in French, and I'm the most skeptical son of a bitch in the lighting industry, buddy. So, I like what you have here. What are your sales like a year? I mean, you don't have to give me the exact number, but like you're entering the United States for a reason because you know it's the best place to sell anything, make money.
The reason actually we went to the US initially and because we work in the marine industry, and in Europe, I don't know how many boats are made a year, but I would say maybe under 100,000 for sure.
Uh-huh.
In the US, the marine industry is known to have a lot of OEMs and a lot of volume on the boats. So this is why we actually went to the US. And the numbers from what we did in France are multiplied by 10 or even more. So I cannot give exact numbers, but we talk about like thousands, tens of thousands of units, and we try to standardize them so one unit can go for different applications and different markets.
Mm. You know what's interesting about that? Like, when you're from a place like Canada. Now, Canada has a monster economy. So Canada is a huge country, uh, economically, except compared to the United States and China. Like Canada's economy is pretty close to France's economy. France's economy is huge. It's maybe the biggest or the second biggest in Europe after Germany. But the United States economy is so enormous by comparison to us. When we go there, it's so much. It's so much. It's not less competitive. It's just more people to sell to, and that's what makes it such a wonderful. And Americans are always very open to new technology and innovation, and their private sector is so dynamic in comparison to Europe and Canada and other places in the world that it's just such a great place to sell. So congratulations to you, Greg, and all your compatriots in America, and thank you for being so welcoming to the rest of the world. And the rest of the world should really appreciate that, because France is not nearly as welcoming to American and Canadian companies as America is to French and European and other companies from around the world. So people forget about that in America, that, America is really nice to Japan, but Japan's not really nice to American companies. So it's a wonderful, wonderful place to do business. So I'm glad you're there. What's the next move, John? What's the next move for you guys? You're in marine. You got this fiberglass. What's the next move?
So the next movie is now capitalizing on our success, our developments, our new concepts, and spread that to other markets through other partners. Our goal is not to be like the center of like, we don't want to be selling directly into each market. We want to be actually the company that goes with a partner in different market, a product, specific product for their market, and build the trust of their clients and integrate our technology.
What do you think the next application would be? I mean, you got marine, you got RV, you've got tents on here, you've got swimming pools. What else do you see out down the road?
The uh, the application that I believe is the largest for many now is the integration of Kanvaslight into upholstery, but hidden. So let me explain that. We work with manufacturers of upholstery today and manufacturers of fabrics. And the cool thing about Canvaslight is that it actually can be sandwiched, I would say, with a fabric, a woven fabric. And the idea is during the day, you don't alter it, you don't change how an upholstery seat for a boat or your house would look. But by night, you can create a logo or create design that shine through the fabric. So if you have the time, I invite you to go in our website, look at our videos in YouTube, and you will be able to see some of the upholstery seat that we create that actually during the day look like any seat, but by night your name, your logo, a design.
Hmm. The intellectual property. Are your patents like PC in the sense that they're, what is that, PCT, that they're across all Western nations, so across Europe and North America? Yeah.
Yes, so we protected the technology at different levels, from the weaving, the treating, the optical components to the integration of the fabric. So we put different layers of patents that cover North America and Europe in order to protect the technology and be able like to spread it through us.
I'm going to ask questions that might be a little bit less comfortable, if that's okay. Is the French government an investor in your business?
No.
No. Is there any French provinces or any government, any lower levels of government invested in the business?
Yes, they are,
Okay.
but not directly the government.
Okay. And what about like some companies like LVMH or some other bigger Veolia or some other big French companies? Or is there any other big ones that are invested in this thing?
At this time, no.
Oh, okay. Okay. Just wondering, because it seems to be that a lot of European companies that have this kind of technology, they seem to have money coming from other places, and I'm often interested in knowing where, if we could use some of those tactics here in Ontario and in places in the United States where these public-private partnerships to create innovation. Sometimes it takes more money than the capital markets in places like France and Canada actually can deliver on before you can take it to market. So I was wondering, such an innovative product like that coming out of France. I was just wondering if how the money kind of came through. So that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Greg, where do we go? I feel like I want to talk to you about this in front of John, actually, before we kind of get back to him in a second. Where do you
Okay.
see this product fitting? We're gonna cut John out of the conversation for a minute. John, you listen, but where do you see this product fitting in as a guy that's spent almost 20 years now lighting? What do you see?
From what we sell, I mean, we're not selling obviously to boats or to RVs or anything like that. So
Mm,
that's what I'm trying to figure out is where it makes sense. And in the office environment, in terms of signage, that's built into like a wall. Maybe there's a play there, or maybe, and I don't know how much of it I would ever sell. But the one thing when you were saying upholstery too is we talk about and kind of joke about is having your own personal light at all times. Like, is
mm.
there a way to that go, but that goes with you? So that's the hard part. You can't really take this with you. But could you put it into your chair? Would it make sense to be in there? Would there be any health benefit to this? Could it become the healthy, glowing light that we need? That's what I'm thinking about. But I don't know. It's a
So
long ways to go to get there.
yeah, when I think about it, when I look at this, it reminds me of field uh, assembled lighting systems like track light and tape light. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing
Yeah.
with tape light, you're talking about a field assembled lighting system. So electrician gets the components, he glues them above the awning or in the cove, and then he puts the 90-degree connector over the track light. It's the same thing. The track goes on the ceiling. He's got these. What I see with this is like different sheets of links of fabric with various different types of connectors that people can put together on their own like Lego, and create their own unique lighting designs. Like one of the things that I would love to see, and I would take my camera and show you guys here, but I'm in an actual studio with sound panels, sound absorbing panels. I think this fabric would be spectacular on sound panels. So for, sound absorbing panels, John,
Mhm.
if that this is for me, the first thing I would love to have my studio be able to go turn off the lights in my studio and have black light, blue Kanvaslight sound panels if I'm going to do a conspiracy theory podcast with somebody about the flat earth or something. Woo! Put on my I love putting on my tin hat and like doing something funky. And if you could change those colors on my sound panels in my studio here, I would probably spend like $500 on every sound panel like that instead of $100. If I could get it that it lit up and the color could be changed, like that's where I see an immediate application. You know what I'm talking about when I say the sound panels in a like these things here that are
Absolutely.
canvas, right? And that to me right off the bat, as soon as I saw your website, I'm like, I wish my sound panels in my studio, I have them above me, I have them on the wall, everywhere in here. I wish that I could light those up. That would be super freaky. And that's an application where people splash out and spend money, right? It's like your boat. My studio is like a boat, right? It's like, yeah, I got the best studio. Or I got the best podcast studio with the coolest weird stuff. So, but I really think that, in my opinion, Greg, to go back to you, I think there needs to be a catalog, an old fashioned track light catalog or tape light catalog where you start with types of tape light, accessories, power control, and you can select this one's waterproof. There's a T connector, there's an L connector, and they fit through, and you can use these different kinds of fabric. And this is the light engines here, and your fabric can be RGB, and here's the controllers, and da da. The way I see this business really exploding is just giving it to everybody in components and saying, run with it, guys. Kind of like tape light, or track light, run with it. What do you think, Greg, about that? Like a catalog of Kanvaslight,
I think that's fair as long as it's easy enough to manage and put together because you need a light source every 10.5 feet. And that's the difficult part. And then you need electrical to go to it. So
Well,
it's not like it can
you're
connect.
missing the play. You come on. Have you ever sold, Greg? Have you ever sold like somebody that makes couches, like a upholstery manufacturer?
Furniture, yeah.
For sure. Right, you go in there, they're constantly sitting around with fabrics and holding them and all that sort of stuff. And imagine you're a Kanvaslight distributor or dealer or whatever, and you show up and you're like, yeah, actually, to add to your stuff here, here's how you incorporate Kanvaslight into your furniture. And then this is like IKEA. Right, 'cause you're Europeans. You're kind of close to Sweden there, Jean. You can give them like an IKEA catalog where they can flip through, and it's super easy to use. Maybe it's online, but you know what? There's a power in the paper, Greg. You know it, and I know it. There's a
Yep.
power in having a catalog which is nicely organized that people can open up, especially older folks like me. I'm 45 now. I'm sick of the internet. I like my old catalogs and flip through it and be like, holy mackerel, I can do that and that. And the catalog has little examples. So, Jean, I think your key is to give this as a gift to many different industries that use canvas and fiberglass and let them tell you what they want to do with it.
I agree. We have like some of these standardized products that we're working on, and I agree with you. It would be the end road for us to end up having like something that everybody can just pick and make a Lego construction out of Kanvaslight.
So, guys, go to kanvaslight.com or thelamlight.com. That's KANVASLIGHT.com. I don't know why they put a K. They're Europeans. They don't know how to spell canvas in English, I guess. But kanvaslight.com. And then Lamlight, the Lamlight, he's on the Lam. It's THELAMLIGHT.com. And Greg, we got to go get a grip with griplocksystems.com, baby. That's GRIPLOCKSYSTEMS.com.
That's right. That's a long one. You did it, but they do
Woo!
have their own in-house engineers developing hundreds of different grip pull options and different sizes, different connectors for nearly any environment. Labor-saving installation, fast install, light fixtures. Get it done. Get a grip. Get the chains out of here.
I think that's my favorite name of any sponsor that's ever been on the show. GripLockSystems.com. Check them out. That's GripLockSystems.com. Already spelled it once if you don't get it already. Of course, the membership drive 2023, Greg Eric. We got 2 in the books already. That's right. If you're a lighting distributor, what are you waiting for? We're guys. You got everybody. What do I have to be a member of association for? Guys, we're bringing the voice to the lighting distributors. We're creating the education. We're putting this out with the sustainability. We're restoring darkness. We're doing everything here at Nailed. That's right. We punch way above our weight, and we should, because the smartest people in lighting are all distributors. That's right. I finally said it, Greg Eric. Finally said it. The smartest people in lighting are distributors, and of course, we give thanks to Jean-Côme Mazière of Kanvaslight and the Lamlight and all the great developments that he's made at that company and the rest of the folks down there. And of course, you, the listener and the viewer. That's right. It's all about you. Our colleagues that don't have podcasts, thanks for being part of this. Bye for now.